Making friends in adulthood isn't just about turning up at school and falling into one of the few cliques based on appearance. The subtle art of not being an asshole long enough for someone to invite you to their house can be a real challenge for some people. If you find that keeping friendships alive is tricky, then Alux is here to bring you the truth. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. If you're not subscribed yet, you're missing out. Sure, this list might make you a bit uncomfortable, but the truth isn't always pretty. And if you stick it out, we'll reward you with 2 tips to win any conversation. Time to make a date with us to hear the 15 reasons why you don't make new friends. Number 1. You don't get out enough. It's no good sitting at home and complaining you don't have any friends. It's time to own up to the fact you're getting out exactly what you're putting into the friendship cup. Nada. Nor will they miraculously appear to you on your couch while you're watching Sex and the City marathons for the 3rd time this year. You have to put yourself out there and go find your tribe. If it's important to you that your friends share the same interests as you, then a good place to find them is at clubs around those interests. Join a hiking group, sign up for a cooking class, or go to a social event at the local yacht club. Having a common interest is the easiest way to strike up conversations. One moment you're comparing backpacks and the next you're planning to hike Machu Picchu together. If sharing similar values is important, then perhaps joining volunteers, social movements, or protests are where you find your friendship groups. Striking up a conversation on a social platform might be a good start, but there's no doubt that this can get heated and lead to enemies too, so tread lightly. Rather opt to volunteer at a collective drive or help to paint a local shelter, and soon you'll be chatting away finding out who you want to hang out with more. One connection always leads to another, and while you might find only one person you see as a friendship option, they might introduce you to other friends, and before you know it, you've got a whole crowd in your circle. Number 2. You don't care about your friends. Making friends is just the start. Keeping them is the next skill to master. And like most animals on the planet, herds are based on mutual benefit. So you need to be sure you're putting in equal measure into what you take out of your friendships, or else they'll fizzle and fade. If you look back at a friendship that didn't work out, can you be certain you showed your friend care and concern? Did you give them a call when they had a big exam, or check in with them when their mom wasn't well? Did you give them what they needed when they went through a breakup? Or were you more put out because they didn't want to go to a party with you? It also comes down to the everyday caring too. If you don't care what's happening in your friend's life, but dominate them with updates of your moves and feelings about everything, it won't be long before they fade you out. Be sure the door is swinging both ways, and ask for updates and show concern for your friends' lives too. Number 3. You complain too much. Have you ever been around someone and when you leave them, you feel like the colors just look brighter and the world just feels better than before? It's probably because they're a bright sider. On the other hand, if you find your friends decline your invites to coffee and are planning gatherings and not including you, perhaps you need to rewind back your last few meetups with them and be mindful of how you frame everything. Did you spend the evening recounting every sad and sorry thing in your life? How broke you are, how your boss is terrible and your job sucks, how your ex is the worst person on earth, and how your landlord is a moron? Then you might be the reason no one wants to hang out with you. Everyone has their challenges. Most of us have a bad boss or landlord or ex. Everyone feels broke from time to time, and we don't always enjoy our work. But to be likable, you need to lay off the constant monologue of negative that paints you as the most downtrodden person on the planet. Self-pity gets tiring fast. Be an adult and deal with your demons. Change your job, move apartments, unfollow your ex on Instagram. Make moves to improve what's wrong, because other adults don't want to hear you going on about the same problems 3 years from now when you've done nothing to improve the situation. It's draining, it's boring, and nobody likes a whiner. Number 4. You ditch your friends when you're in a relationship. Are you that person who disappears from the social radar every time you start dating someone new and then crawl back to your friends' couches for comfort the minute you split up? Well then, don't expect your friends to be there for you in the long haul. This type of yo-yo friendshipping is kind of insulting. Friends aren't toys you can take off the shelf and play with until something more interesting comes along, and then expect to be in the exact same place when you get bored again. It's healthy to find a balance between friendships and your romantic life and be able to maintain it. Don't let your friends feel like the consolation prize for when your relationships don't work out. Number 5. You don't pick up on people's social cues. Have you ever reached the conclusion to a riveting retrospect on the best American presidents and realized everybody at the dinner table is looking at their phone? This might mean you missed some social cues along the way that your friends were getting bored of your conversation. They weren't necessarily wanting to be rude, they just might have exhausted all social hints that they didn't care as much about the topic as you do. If no one tried to weigh in on the topic, add a comment, and stopped nodding along, then you failed to take note of their engagement. You didn't let the conversation naturally switch to something you're both more interested in. Conversation is a two-way street, not a lecture theater. Be sure you read the room and are aware of other people's interests ahead of your own need to get your entire tirade across. Not many people will willingly invite you along if you dominate the conversation or steamroll other people's valued opinions. Number 6. You try too hard. Are you always the person pushing to get together with friends or always begging people to stay later at the bar? You might be trying too hard and coming off clingy. Life is a busy place and we all have a lot going on. Be sure you aren't cornering your friends with more than they're willing to give to your friendship. Try to relax, focus your energy on your own activities, work or family, and let your friendships naturally unfold. You'll come across more interesting to new friends if it's clear you have a full life with many different facets and that your happiness doesn't hinge on their friendship. Number 7. You bully your friends. Are you the bossy friend? Do you kind of school your friends in an aggressive way, or do you show them your disapproval when they don't take your advice? Then you might be a bully, and nobody likes a bully. Be sure you're respecting your friends' right to choose for themselves. Remember that they're adults too and have the ability to judge what's best for themselves, even if you don't agree. Allowing everyone the space to make their own choices and make their own mistakes is part of showing love and grace. There's no need to rub their face in their failures with a spiteful "I told you so." That will not lead to lifelong friendships. Number 8. Your expectations of friendship are too high. You might be the kind of person who remembers everyone's birthdays, home bakes Christmas biscuits for everyone, and is able to dog sit for them at a short notice. But not everyone is that friend. If you put too much expectation on your friends, it isn't going to last. Let your friends be themselves, busy, messy, forgetful, and imperfect like all of us. Friends might disappoint you, but that's part of life. Don't hold them by such a high standard they can't meet your needs. Forgive your friends just the same as you would want to be forgiven when you mess up. Having a few good friends you can call on will also help take the pressure off any one person, so your friends don't feel like you're too needy, because this can turn them off of your friendship for good. Number 9. Loose lips sink ships. Juicy gossip can be tempting to sink your teeth into, but it can be a one-way ticket to Lonelyville. Very quickly, your friends will start to see a pattern if you keep reverting to bad-mouthing others and will stop trusting you. After all, if you have something juicy to spill onto everyone else, what secrets of theirs are you sharing around the water cooler? If you want to keep friends, show them you can be trusted. Don't spread rumors, and rather talk up people instead of talking about them. This shows you're secure in your own value to be able to compliment others. Number 10. You're a scorekeeper. Only Scrooge knows exactly who paid for what when it comes to their friends. Keep a spirit of generosity with friends instead of a perfect tally. The same goes for gestures of kindness. Does it really matter who sent the first message, or who initiated the last get-together, or even who was wrong when you had a falling out? Good friends forgive and let bygones be bygones. This doesn't mean you need to be a doormat, but consider how important balancing up really is versus losing a great friend. Number 11. You're green with envy. Only insecure people get jealous over someone else's success. When your best friend gets a promotion, a new car, or gets engaged, it should be time to celebrate. If that isn't your first reaction, then you need to do some deep work on yourself. If you feel threatened when your friend has a new friend or a hobby starts taking up their time, then you've got some issues to work on, bro. No friend can fill the void of your own self-doubt. Expressing this kind of jealousy to a new friend or showing it with passive-aggressive behavior could be the reason you can't get friends to stick around. Rather, celebrate your friends' successes and also grieve with them in disappointment. This kind of consideration for others is what makes you the kind of friend that can't be replaced. Number 12. You're a drama llama. Are your problems always so much worse than everyone else's? Does bad luck seem to follow you around? Then you might just be a drama llama, my friend. And nobody likes a drama llama. Perhaps you know exactly how to poke the hornet's nest when you go to dinner with a friend, and it always ends up in them getting irate. Or maybe you're guilty of accidentally spilling a secret your friend asked you to keep hush-hush just to get a reaction. If this is you, consider yourself cancelled pretty soon because life is already too crazy to adopt any more drama into it. Not only is it incredibly self-centered behavior, which went out of fashion with the Walkman, it also smacks of a bitter and twisted soul. Number 13. You make everything about yourself. Following on from the kind of person who always has the biggest problems in the group is the conversationalist who can turn any subject into a discussion about their life. Even if you're talking about a fictitious voyage to the Earth's core, this person will segue into the conversation with something like, "That reminds me of the time I..." If you seem to find a way to make every topic about something you can relate about yourself, consider if people will really find it interesting or if it's relevant to shift the conversation's focus to yourself. Bringing yourself into everything can be a fast track to finding yourself left out of anything that happens in the future with these friends. Number 14. You're always right. If this doesn't sound at all like you, then the reality is that this is more likely than not exactly you. Perhaps you find people give up arguments easily around you, or you've noticed that when you enter a discussion, others bow out. This might not be because you're a great debater, it could be because you're painful to talk to. Conversation is not about convincing everyone to agree with your point of view. If this is your objective, then you're taking the wrong track to making friends. Try to go with the flow, read the room, and enjoy the difference of opinions rather than driving home that your opinion is the most right. Number 15. You aren't hanging out in the right places. If you feel like you've got the goods and you can't find any fault in your approach to friendship, then perhaps you aren't netting the right friends. If you're looking for deeply stimulating conversations, then maybe meeting people at the local pub isn't going to be the best place to strike up a friendship. Maybe you need to attend a lecture series at a university or hang out in the philosophy section of your local bookstore. If you're looking for friends to share your creative passions, then pull into some art exhibitions. Go to where your tribe will be. Look for ways to give rather than take, and you're sure to be swapping numbers and making plans very soon. And here we are at the end, Aluxers. We're curious. What's your biggest friendship fail? What do you look for in a good friend? Let us know in the comments. And for sticking with us until the end, of course, here's your bonus. A person's own name is the sweetest sounding word in their vocabulary, so if you have nothing better to say, at least call them by their name. A person's favorite topic is themselves, so half the battle is won if you ask people insightful questions about themselves. You'll come across as warm, concerned, and likable just with these 2 tips, and you don't even have to come up with anything interesting to say. Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxers. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos, which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on all social medias or ask a question on our website, Alux.com. Thank you for being an Aluxer, and we'll see you back tomorrow.